Say in your mind, say to yourself, I am more than my physical body. Because I am more than physical matter, I can perceive that which is greater than the physical world. I deeply desire to expand, to experience, to know, to understand, to control, to use such greater energies and energy systems as may be beneficial and constructive to me and to those who follow me. I deeply desire the help and cooperation, the assistance, the understanding of those individuals whose wisdom, development, and experience are equal to or greater than my own. I ask their guidance and protection from any influence or any source that might provide me with less than my stated desires.
Do not know all the answers to the questions about reality. Do not claim to know the ultimate truth about life. I seek that which has been made hidden. As a part of a family of explorers of consciousness, I'm the void one.
Welcome to Lighting the Void.
Broadcasting live from a shack on a hill in the Mossy Creek bottoms of Cane Creek, Arkansas. This is Lighting the Void live on Fringe FM and YouTube as well on Lighting the Void YouTube. It is Thursday, October the 2nd, 2025. We're back into the late night and we're back into the far journeys too with Robert Monroe. Here's the thing. We've been taking this Robert Monroe journey for a minute now, and we're almost done with this. This one, The Far Journeys. It gets weird. It's gotten really weird. For those of you that have been keeping up, God bless you. It has been quite interesting, I'll say, you know. You just never know when, like, a track from the radio station is just going to jump in on us too. So my bad. But anyways, no, for real though, like we're all the, what's up? April, MJ, Wolf, who else is in here? Stone, Hobbit, and Lurkers. So we're going to continue this thing, and I'll do my best to try to change voices, and I'll do my best to show you the keys. But here's the thing. This is so hard to like just throw a live introduction into and recap and do all the stuff that you're supposed to do when you're doing like live shows, live radio shows and stuff, because there's so much to explain. So I would ask anybody that just stumbles upon this video or that's watching live, if it doesn't make sense to you, we're here to dive deep into this journey, not to really get clicks. So if it doesn't make sense to you, you might have to go back a little bit. But I will say this in recap. We're following the journeys of Robert Monroe through his books and through his own notes and what he says and his experience. So that's right, Robo. I'm more than my physical body. That's right. Also, the Halloween special is coming up. It's going to come fast. October is one of my favorite months. It goes by so damn quick, though. So anything that you guys would like to hear via before then or on Halloween, let me know. And if you have any questions, you can always email thefringefm@gmail.com. You can call and leave a voicemail or text the show at 501-777-5631. And sometimes we'll even pull up the phones live. Also have Flying Bryson here, and anybody else that wants to jump in, that is able to jump in during the live show. I have given you that tag in the Discord server so that you may, if you are what I consider to be somewhat a producer. Bryce, you ready for this thing, man? Because it's probably going to be just as weird as last night. I can promise you it's probably going to be.
I was going to say it with enthusiasm, just say heck yeah, but then you brought up how strange and weird it was. So
yeah, it's going to be.
We'll keep that heck yeah on the sideline for now. How about that?
All right. Well,
yeah.
This one's called Promised Plan. You haven't read ahead in this, have you, Bryce?
No, not since. No, I haven't.
You haven't? Okay. Just double check.
I have not.
Okay. So here we go. And yeah, sir, let me see. Got a big shout out to Dallas, Portland, a couple of people that are listening in via the station, via Canada at fringe.fm. Good to have you. I'll give you shit. I'm not really spying on you. We figured this out last night too, and Wolf jumped in here. He's like, "Hey man, can you see exactly where I am?" So no, I can't. I can only, when your dot pops up when you listen on the radio station, I can only see like in your general area. But that's it. That's it. It's nothing to worry about. And if you're worried about it, use a VPN or whatever. But it's just radio, baby. So this one's called Promised Plan. Here, let me pull up the key too, just in case you hear some keywords. And Robo1776 says, last night was weird, but the space I want to live in, that's the space I want to live in. Me too, man. I like living in a weird space. So remember, if he says lighted, I guess that's happy or rolled or is amused or laughed. Plied is the way things are. This is NVC, nonverbal communication. I guess the way waveforms or these guys are talking to each other. If he says click, that means he quantum jumps in consciousness. If he says vibrate, that means he showed emotion. And then you can kind of get it. Like, I don't think they say TSI very much, honestly. They only say it a couple times. But the other ones, you kind of know what they mean. M-band noise, however, is kind of tricky. So M-band noise just means noise that we make as humans through our minds in the astral realm. That's what I wanted to tell you guys. Okay. So I keep telling you guys, I'm going to tell you the story. So before we get into this, so you know how he talks about M-band noise, right? Being like all this crazy noise and the scratchy stuff that these entities hear is like emotion. Okay. Well, I don't know if it's M-band noise or not, but I like to play around in the hypnagogic state quite a bit. I do. If I'm not able to get out of body, then I'll just play around in the hypnagogic state just to see for the fun of it. But there was this one time, and I was telling Wolf and Bryce about this the other night, that I took some like NyQuil because I was sick, and I was talking to a friend of mine on the phone, and you know how when you're so tired from exhaustion and being sick, like you can't fight it, like your body's just kind of like forced to go to sleep, just like in that movie, The Edge of Sleep. There was no fighting it. Matter of fact, the more I fought it, the more it was taking me down to sleep. And I remember even my eyes like shaking, trying to fight it, going to sleep. But I got to this place in hypnagogia that was so weird. It was between sleep and awake that I could hear like voices. Now, I don't know if that's M-band noise, but I was just in my bed. There's nobody around. There's no one there. Not really, not in physical life. But as I was right on the edge of sleep, I could hear like people talking like I was in a cafeteria. It was just loud, just a whole lot of people talking. And I wonder to this day when they talk about the M-band noise in this book, if that's what I was hearing. I wonder. I don't know if anybody else has had that kind of experience. There's been times that I've heard growling in the hypnagogic state. Not really scary growling, just weird kind of growling. But a couple of times I've heard lots of like people talking, and a few times we've talked about this before. I've heard knocks on the door, like just bang, 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 like really loud in my physical ear, not in my head. At least I don't think it's in my head, but loud enough where I'll jump up and go, run to the door and see if anybody's there. And nobody's there. So I wonder, again, like when they talk about in-band noise, if that's what that is. I hope if you guys have an experience like that, let me know. Because I could just be going crazy. All right, let's get into this thing. All right, so time, 2:32 a.m., awakened with a full physical awareness. I felt the familiar inspect signal, soft, not insistent, but there. Feeling of relaxed confidence. I went into short focusing routine, then unhooked from the physical body, then the second body, much like doing 2 slow half rolls in an airplane. Homed in on the ident, and with very little sense of movement, I was with them at our usual point of meeting. I knew now that I would never go beyond this point again, into where they are, until I had fully released my physical body. In other words, till he was dead. Even with the compelling attraction that the knowledge of it evoked, I believed I could handle it, at least for now. And the inspect says, well, we enjoy your human terms. Handle as you use it does not imply a point of grasp for your physical appendage, but capability to act properly. Therefore, we do learn from you. I still found it hard to imagine they're learning anything of significant value from me, but if they felt that way, then fine. We learn much of importance from you and through you, Ashanine. So Robert Monroe's name's Ashanine now. I still remember the first time I became aware that I didn't have to form questions, how disconcerting it was that they perceived every thought that I had, including questions before I got a chance to even ask. It all smoothed out when I accepted the fact that whatever I thought, believed, responded to emotionally was just being human, and no judgment was passed therefrom. What a joyous freedom that is. Then the inspect says, yet you would not know it as freedom if you had not experienced the repression. Yes, the comparative factor seems always to apply. Without it, perhaps there can be no change, or at least the awareness. The inspect says, at this point, we believe you're ready for another awareness. You may now appreciate the prospect of what you're attempting to perform in your present time. It is not to state that you alone may bring into earth reality such prospect, or it is not to state that you alone may bring into earth reality such prospect. Yours is but a small part of a whole that may come into being, aided and supported by many, many others who contribute their small parts just as you are doing. However, with your effort and your present time, you can complete your portion and you can return home, only to return and share in the fruits of what you are propounding when they have matured. These fruits are what we are about to show you. Their use of the term home brought a surge of nostalgic yearning, and I turned inward and closed. Echoing through me came the fragments of the road I could never totally express, the serenity, complete feeling of belonging. To recall the vitality I had forgotten, the crisp, warming clarity of, and yet it was not quite right. Something was missing. Something was missing too deeply, or had I opened. We thought it might be important to you. We can show you this as an observer, not as a participant. Even as I vibrated, I blanked. If they planned it, it must be something big, but I couldn't read them as they read me. What? And the inspect interrupts him and says, well, we can escort you to a physical earth possibility. This is a possibility. A physical earth possibility at a point in your time measurement beyond the year 3000. The principal inhabitants are what we call H plus or humans plus to indicate modification from those in your present time. As you are now, you will be a visitor. Well, so that was it. I had made only a few visits into future time, and I would never have the guts to try such a jump by myself, but with them, now closed tightly, it will be better that way. My excitement was great, and my vibrating reflected it. So I turned inward, folded it all back in a loop, and closed. This would be the real rote, not the projections and imaginings of those looking at small trends, which will always click. We were high above the earth, much as one would perceive it from halfway to the moon, which was still there behind us. The earth was the same blue-green color with white covers of clouds partially obscuring the land below. We moved in steadily, and I was happy to see that the deep gray and brown rings were no longer there, which meant the blockage got cleaned up. Good. No more repeaters. But it was the new feature that pulled my focus and wouldn't let it go. Around the Earth was a single flat ring, much like the ones around Saturn, and it was radiating and sparkling, not from the reflection of the sun, but from its own internal source. And then the inspec says, well, you will understand fully the meaning of the ring as we progress. As we moved around, not through, the sparkling ring and headed inward, I became aware of another change. The M-band was full of communication, but no noise. No noise. That could mean only one thing. Man had finally got it together. Further evidence was the lack of the haze M-band noise creates. No more random thought clutter. This at least gave me a beginning percept of what I might expect. We came to a low altitude at about 8,000 feet and began circling the Earth over the northern hemisphere, east to west, near a 28-degree latitude just a few miles off the coast of what appeared to be Japan. The seas were soft light green, and gentle swells, some 10 feet from trough to crest, moved majestically over the surface. Deeper, I could perceive schools of fish leisurely weaving along, not too fast, their track matching neatly the contour of the distant coastline. Thousands of them. Silver sides flashing as they made their quick changes in direction. There had indeed been changes if they schooled so closely to the shore, so many of them. It was familiar. There was a missing element. I scanned the ocean surface and knew immediately what it was. There were no ships. I reached out along the horizon and far beyond. Not even a rowboat or a dinghy. A dinghy. I scanned overhead across the sky with its streets of white cumulus clouds. No aircraft, just gulls and terns sweeping and surging among the heavy swells. And higher than that, beyond cloud base, nothing. No jet contrails, no jets. Then we had crossed the coastline and were over Japan. Off to the north was Fujiyama, a white cone glistening in the sun. Below us was a neat carpet of tidy fields and large checkerboard squares, each a subtle shade of green. Correction, much more than greens. Spotted among the green like a gigantic bouquet were clusters of fields, each of a different color. One a mass of bright orange, another deep blue, white, red fields of blooming flowers, bushes, and evidently hybrids of the two, because no flower could be that large. It was a pattern that could be seen only from high overhead. Yet there were no aircraft, and that began to give me another faint percept. As we moved west, I became aware of other missing signs. There were no roads, not so much as a lane to service the fields. Also no buildings, no houses, no barns, no sheds. I scanned in all directions, and there were none. No cities, no towns, no villages, no power lines, no cars, trucks, no bicycles. All gone. The air was clear and clean, no smoke or smog. Then I had a flashing percept. There were no people. That was what I was actually looking for. Men, women, children. What terrible catastrophe took them all away? Then the inspec says, they are here, they are fewer in number, but it was not an event that made it so. What you perceive is by design. We began to move more rapidly westward across the unending array of colored bouquets set in green, some so large they appeared to be many miles in width. And soon we were again over water, the Sea of Japan as I remembered it, and still no ships on that once was such an important transportation route. Back over land again, the Korean peninsula maybe, and the pattern was different. In every direction were tall and stately trees with close upward turned branches of a species unfamiliar to me. But again, no sign of human artifact to indicate Kilroy had been anywhere near the place. And then the inspec says, your percept is, how do you call it, obsolete. Well, before I had a chance to turn inward on that one, we were over water again, moving even faster and back over land. This would have to be China. Surely with its teeming millions, some had to be visible. Evidently they didn't have to be at all. We swept over mile after mile of deep green forests broken only by occasionally grassy clearings and wide rivers and streams. Where are the rice paddies so vital to human sustenance? And the inspec says, there are a few, but for a different purpose. Bird sanctuaries. The land below became more rugged, and soon we were skimming between the ranges and peaks of very mountainous terrain. Vegetation was sparse, and snow caps flashed by as we passed at what seemed Mach 2 speed or greater. I would be more comfortable with a little safer altitude. My old half-bold pilot experience was coming out. And being half-bold had let me grow old, but not gracefully. The sheer snow-laden rocky side of a high ridge came rushing at us. You can move through it and out the other side. It's no different now, the inspect said. The ridge was almost on us. I closed tightly just as we were about to crash. There was a slight change in the texture around me momentarily, and it was gone. I opened and scanned behind us. The high range was fading in the distance. Passing through the physical matter is not yet my habit. Quickly, the earth below was beginning to level out again. The color of the forest changed into lighter greens, and the cleared areas became larger. I tried to remember my geography. We were over the Middle East, I thought. Yes, there they were coming up. Still the rolling, sandy, near-desert areas where the oil came from. I scanned in all directions and saw very symmetrical clusters of trees, but no tanks, no pipelines, no pumping wellheads, nothing to indicate man had ever set foot in this area. Either the oil fields were pumped dry or here was no longer a need for oil. Then the inspect says, both percepts are accurate. Then we moved out over again, the Mediterranean Sea maybe, and higher, faster. A scrap of land blinked by underneath, which I could not identify, and more water. Heavy waves. This must be the Atlantic. Land again. A sudden slowing, and we landed gently in a field of grass amid rolling hills. I looked around me, wondering why we had stopped at this particular place. It was very faintly familiar. I was standing on a knoll, in a field of rich green grass whose blades were so even they must have been recently mowed. No, not cut. They were growing evenly. The edge of the woods of oak trees, limbs spreading broadly, rose behind me. In the far distance, a series of ascending green-blue ridges formed giant stair steps upward. Why stop here? Why at this place? Then the inspect says, it is their wish. They are expecting you. The inspect energy faded, and I was alone. I seemed very physical as I stood there. I could feel the sun on my face. Light, cool breezes ruffled my hair. Hair? I wasn't supposed to have. They were expecting me. So now he's got hair in here, right? I scanned in all directions, but with no ident. No, there is one, and it's very, very familiar. Over in the woods. I turned and walked. Wait, walked? That inferred legs. I looked down and I did indeed have legs. Very normal and very human. Bare legs and bare feet. I could feel the grass in my toes as I walked. I touched the rest of me as I headed for the large oaks. My body was physically real and warm under my fingers. I glanced down, and it was my body as a beanpole 22 years old. Ha! No clothes. That's some kind of progress. Now I could feel the soft wind against my body, the air in my lungs as I breathed. It was the first time that I could remember that I experienced a fully operational physical body in this state of consciousness. But I don't see why I had to go all the way back to a skinny 6-foot, 137-pounder. I reached the edge of the woods and started to enter, and when I ran into a barrier, something that threw me back into the field, I stopped and looked, but my percept showed me nothing. The familiar ident I couldn't associate with anything was behind the barrier, so I tried again. It gave a little, but no more, and the invisible force itself was familiar, yet I couldn't connect the ident and the barrier. Something was missing. You can stay in the grass, and we will join you there, the inspect said. No sound. It was nonverbal communication. We made it. Humans did it. We made the quantum jump from monkey chatter, and all it implied. I was eager to meet the welcoming committee. So the person that said that you can stay in the grass and we'll join you there, that's not the inspect. That's the familiar whoever he saw. So I was eager to meet the welcoming committee, whoever they were. I didn't have to wait but a moment, and a man and a woman came out from under the trees and stood in front of me. At least that nice polarity hadn't changed. Both appeared to be in their late 20s, attractive, well-formed, skin a suntan color. The man's hair was light brown, the woman's her hair was dark. They smiled as I inspected them, and I opened. Well, I guess we haven't changed as much as I thought we would, not physically anyway, I said. Sorry about the mix-up, Ram, the man rolled. Your host forgot about the barrier, so we're taking his place. I blinked. Well, you must know me with the ram stuff. The man warmed. Yeah. And you're sure a familiar one to me. The ident is fuzzy, but the way it comes out, I know it's not right. The man vibrated and rolled. Not 1,000 years, would you believe it? It's more than 1,000, so now you better believe it. I had bright flashing percept, and I didn't believe it. BB? BB rolled. Well, who else? I turned inward and found the rotes that had percepts on the barrier, where it had repelled me before, and I knew who my host was to have been. That's AA back in the trees. BB opened wide. He was sure eager to meet you in person. He was so eager he forgot about the barrier, but he's getting percepts. Does he know what the barrier is? BB smoothed. Yeah, he knows, but he told me you have to find out for yourself. I turned to the woman, no longer able to resist the enormous pull she knowingly or unknowingly was exerting upon me. Yes, Monroe again in his out-of-body stuff, like she was pulling towards me. Her smile told me it was the former, but she was closed tightly, and I respected the signal. Like BB's, her ident was strong, far stronger, but it was fuzzy. How could I forget such a vital, important... Her smile was mischievous. You don't. Well, what do you want to know first? BB cut in. I could run you on my rote, but it might not be what you want. I turned to BB. Exactly what year is it? A year? Oh, time. They gave up that kind of measuring somewhere after they reached the 3,000 mark. Didn't need it anymore. So what next? I flickered. Where are we? I know from the way we traveled on our approach that we're just inside the United States near the coastline. BB smoothed. AA thought this would be where you would like to come first. Not the United States any longer. No states or countries anywhere. Don't need them. But you ought to get a percept on this particular place. I turned and scanned around me. It was familiar. The knoll where we were standing, the rising tiers of blue-tinted ridges to the west. Blue ridges. The percept was total. How many times before had I stood on this very knoll and looked to the west? Had made the stairway of rounded hills my launching chute, and the flood of living human experience I had attached to this spot, this site. The houses, fences, buildings, roads, they were all gone. The lake. Well, the lake was still there. And trees, so many more trees and of varieties I'd never seen before. And to the east there was water. Water where once was a 4-lane highway. Water stretching off into the horizon. We call it Virginia Bay for old time's sake, part of the ocean. BB was very smooth. You always yelled about the law of change. Some of us hibe here also for old time's sake. I blanked. Hibe? Well, the woman opened ever so slightly. We store our favorite human bodies here under the oak trees until we need them. Holy shit. We store our favorite human bodies here under the oak trees until we need them. Which is not too often, BB added. I turned inward. Hibe. Hibernation? Sure, why not? Simply a vast improvement on the old out-of-body experience pattern. But to leave it lying around under an oak tree? We pull a super reball around it, the woman responded, smiling. It's so tight, not even a virus can get through, so certainly won't be bothered by ticks, mosquitoes, or anything larger. The rote was building fast. Reball. Short for resonant energy balloon, which we were clumsily trying to generate with mixed success. An energy field around the body to shield and protect. Back when... And when there are still ticks, mosquitoes, viruses, and bears, no doubt. BB grinned. No doubt at all. So even in the year, so damn it, man. Even in the year like 3000, there's still mosquitoes. That sucks. I mean, they got all these pretty trees, no roads, but why can't we figure out how to get rid of damn ticks and mosquitoes? I guess that's a part of like, we have to have it, right? Like that would be one of the first things I'd want to get rid of, at least the damn mosquitoes. I looked at him. What do you mean, not too often? BB swung to the woman. You tell him. The woman opened somewhat wider, and I could feel the attractive radiation diminish, and I knew it was deliberate. Also was sure she knew I would not attempt any further percept of her, if that was what she wanted. At least that hadn't changed either. Women still like to be mysterious. Not too often is about twice a week, more or less, she smoothed, watching my reaction. Yeah, in other words, she picked up on your sexually attractive energy, Robert, instead of, that's why she shut herself down, probably. Because you're already trying to meld with her before you even figured out what's going on. All three of us here in human physical on the same day is quite unusual, she went on, enjoying every moment. We did it just to meet you. I smiled. Well, I appreciate it, believe me. Remember how you used to say? She laughed and started again. You were always saying we are more than our physical bodies. Now it's the other way around. We keep telling the new ones they are more than their energy selves. I turned inward. This was more than I had ever contemplated. But one thing hadn't changed. One answer led to 100 other questions I needed to start at. You want your usual baseline. Well, we are still human beings, or beings being human, I guess. She looked at BB, who simply shrugged. That was unusual. AA must have instructed him to let the woman do the talking. Correction, communicating. I tried another direction. On the way in, I didn't see a single house or buildings, no roads, nothing to show that man was here or ever had been. No cities, factories, aircraft cars. How come? BB laughed. You didn't look very hard. The woman glowed. Isn't it beautiful? I was smoothing more. I can understand how you can sleep under the trees in weather like this, but how about the winter? You still have to keep warm. Well, the reball takes care of that, she answered. It keeps an air temperature layer around the physical, just whatever you want it to be. How about food? You gotta eat. She held out her arms in front of her body, level with her shoulders, palms upward. She closed her eyes and stood quietly, and after a few moments, she lowered her arms, opened her eyes again. That gives the body enough energy for at least a week, she sighed contentedly. I flickered. You mean you don't get to taste food anymore, like real food? Oh, that, sure. BB got into the act again. He reached down, scooped up a handful of red loam from between the grass roots. What'll you have, wild rice? That's my favorite. I watched, fascinated, decided to go with the game. No, how about Silver Queen? BB blanked. Silver Queen? What kind of... Here, I'll do it. The woman took the dirt from BB, cupped it in her right hand, and stared at it intently. The dirt began to bubble up and boil, changing color. Reformed into a small, full, kerneled, mature ear of white corn. She handed it to me, and I took it. It was hot to the touch, and I carefully put it to my mouth, took a bite. It was Silver Queen, the sweetest corn I ever tasted, with the freshness of just being picked. It even had melted butter. No, oleo dripping from it. I looked at the woman as I chewed avidly. She smiled knowingly. If she kept leaking percepts, I'd have her ident whether I wanted to or not, and she wouldn't have her secret. I handed her the corn, and she bit into it. We both chewed and tasted. I swallowed, wondering where the corn went when I did so. But it didn't matter, so I smoothed. All right, you've convinced me. What about no roads, no transportation? Suppose we wanted to go to Japan. That's not within walking distance. BB grinned. Why, we just pull a skip, that's all. Short version of course. Why Japan? I noticed some very unusual patterns of growing things there when we came in. The woman smiled. It's very lovely, isn't it? First stop, Japan. BB turned towards the woods and the woman followed. We'll be right back. I watched as they disappeared into the grove of oaks, and I stood there waiting, mulling over the strange mixture of physical and other energies that was now Earth life. I found I was unable to determine where one began and the other left off. There was no longer a sharp dividing line. Was it all like this? Already? I turned, and there was BB and the woman standing beside me. They seemed different, lighter. We had to drop off our bodies. I suddenly remembered. No tricks, BB. BB rolled. No chance. She's handling the ident. You and I just play follow the leader after her. I focused intently on BB and stretched. Click. This shit's crazy. This is probably Robert Monroe's, like if things went Robert Monroe's way, This would be the future after the year 3000. We could just store our bodies under trees, right? Interesting. Show the key. So he's quantum jumping. They're stretching and jumping towards, I think, the Japan area, I guess. So click. We were hovering over a rolling landscape at about 10,000 feet. Directly below us was what seemed to be the center of a lotus blossom, the outermost petals in magnificent glowing colors, spreading out in all directions 4, 5, or 6 miles. Beyond these were descending tones of green, from the very light of a fresh new leaf to the rich dark of the lower tropical rainforest. She and BB were beside me. The woman vibrated. This is one of the nicest. I couldn't see why. I opened. Who did this? A group who wanted the area to give a percept of the beauty that began here. It was in existence when I came. Now others just take care of it. I got a clean, clear percept. The rest of the world, the earth, is it all like this? It has been restored to its original ecological balance, the way it was before humans upset it so severely. It's all back together again. Every tree, every plant, every animal, well, all of it. Plus a few improvements BB put in. But it's not all laid out in huge gardens such as this. I focused on the woman. No, only a small part, she came back. The rest is made up of forest, woodlands, pastures, and prairies. Even the desert areas have been restored. My percept had been quite clear. Humans had taken over Mother Nature's work with a few improvements. I didn't need to ask the hows of it. The road of the woman converting dirt into an ear of fresh sweet corn said it all. If a human could do that, I had to complete it. I was sure of the answer before I asked. Well, let's suppose we wanted to walk around down there. I mean, in a physical body. I smoothed carefully. How could we do it? The woman vibrated. Well, I'm sure there are any number of bodies under those beautiful cherry blossoms. I pressed. Well, we could take over one just like that? Yeah, of course. I had to know. Okay, well, suppose they were already occupied, so to speak. BB couldn't stay out of it. Well, we'd make some new ones. Doesn't take long. You want to go down? I flickered. No, not yet anyway. But what about the physical bodies you left under the oak trees? Can just anyone occupy those if they want to? BB rolled. Sure, why not? Why not? That took some fast adjustment. Then I pulled out the rote from back when, where others had occupied the physical bodies of our volunteers in the laboratory, communicated verbally, activated other portions of said body, including playing the piano, all without any wear and tear or concern. So why not? The woman was smoothed at BB. I didn't get the percept that he's ready. Sure he is, BB came back. He's a big boy now. It would give him the whole rote in one gulp. Have so much fun it would blow him away. Let's go back to the dorm first, as AA planned. She came back easily. Then maybe go from there. I opened. Do I have a choice in this? She rolled. Of course you do. I smoothed, holding back the vibration. Well, let's do what she indicates. I've had too much experience with your fun, BB. No offense. BB rolled. Sure. The woman turned to me. Close tightly. I did. And click. We were floating amid thousands upon thousands of white, sparkling forms, each animated and vibrating. At first, the brightness and radiation was so overwhelming, I was sure I would have to push the panic button or scream for my inspec friend. Then it lessened, and I felt the warm sense of understanding entering from all external points of me. I knew the forms had deliberately diverted their radiation, whatever it was, away from me, so it conformed to my level of tolerance. I wondered how I must ident to them. Probably a dull gray piece of fog. Welcome to the dorm of the renovated Superhuman School of Compressed Learning. The ident was BB, no mistaking that. AA decided dorm was the best term to use. I have no percept what a dorm is. I caught the smooth yet vague ident of the woman on the other side of me. She was bright and sparkling, exactly as all the others. I knew she was human. Or did I? So must be all of the other sparkling forms. I opened as much as I could. Hey, what's this place? You passed it when you entered Earth. As she sent it to me, I immediately got the flash of the sparkling ring. This is our reference point until we decide to... She trailed off and closed, and I tried to smooth. Wait, decide to do what? She opened slightly. Graduate. I let that one rest for a moment. Well, what do you do in the meantime? She rolled lightly. Well, for one, we make and gather, what did you call it? Loosh, like honeybees or Guernsey cows. Only now we know what we're doing and why, and we're happy to do it. I turned inward and closed. This one I did understand, but the vastness of the change was near unbelievable. But I was here and the evidence was all around me. The interstate to freedom. I opened again. Well, what else do you do? She lighted smoothly. Experience Earth consciousness, not just in physical human form. Remember, we could only feel a part of it, just a part. Now we go through it completely, from the smallest unicellular life up millions of different cycles, most of which we were unaware of as only physical humans before. Even the physical Earth itself has an active consciousness. I let that one go by, too, because I couldn't resist the follow-up. The natural food chain process, it still exists and you experience it from beginning to end? She came back gently. It's an important part of the learning process. We couldn't make Loosh without it. Hey, Ram, BB said. BB could stay out of it no longer. Some change, huh? No more haze, no more M-band noise, no more locked in the rings. Want me to show you around? I turned to the woman, but she didn't respond. So I took that to mean it was all right. Also, she had closed. Evidently, she wanted to keep her secret. And with a little more of her ident leaking, she wouldn't have any secret. I followed BB. Lead on, old buddy. We moved easily through the sparkling forms, and I hooked onto BB's ident to keep from getting lost. I could feel the radiation ease back in front of me, providing a pathway, so to speak, of low-level energy that I could tolerate. I was surprised when passing various forms, a spark would fly out and touch me. In the sparks was spoken words that I heard very clearly. Hello, Bob. Hi, Robert. But I couldn't get any ident on any of them. Finally, BB stopped. In front of us was the first entry station. It appeared much the same. There was a large cluster of gray forms hovering around it. Lots of changes, BB smoothed, but you wouldn't notice them if you didn't know better. I ventured. Such as? Well, there's a heavy cutback on the survival imprint for one, BB rolled. You remember that lecture you gave me, complete with living illustrations in the old rings? You'd be amazed at the difference that one change made. I opened. I am. BB blanked, then went on. Yeah, well, another thing is a solid pre-briefing and training before entry, especially as to continue in contact during physical sleep cycles. I blinked. But you don't even sleep here, do you? No, don't need to. Then he lighted. Oh yeah, that's the other point. These first-timers go back before the changes as their first entry point. Some of them almost back when humans first began being human. They take one human physical life cycle, and one only, and come back here and then join in. No repeaters, just one-timers. I turned inward, then opened. Is this one-timer pattern going on back where I come from? BB lighted. Oh, sure. I flickered. I haven't had a percept on that taking place. BB smoothed. Sure you have. I blanked. How? That last outer ring, remember? Didn't come near the repeater department, just went up and faded out. I flickered again, but they were the ones going home. BB vibrated triumphantly. Well? I turned inward and closed. The whole thing was getting out of hand, or better, out of my mindset, beyond my ability to absorb and understand instantly, and BB was pulling at me. Come on, Ram, he vibrated. Let's live it up. Let's have some fun. I flickered. Fun? Well, I don't know what your idea of fun. Just usual stuff, I guarantee it. Things we do every day down there. Also, I got a hard rote from AA as to what to show you and what not to. I scanned beyond the gray forms around the entry station and to the sparkling lights beyond. Where's AA now? I never get a good ident on him. BB indicated behind us. He's back there. That barrier thing won't let him come closer, but I'll bet he's going to follow us. You ready? Just short of skips, that's all. I felt much more confident. With that small percept, I reached out and stretched, holding on his ident. Click. All right, before we exchange conscious, like he does another quantum jump, I've got to figure out what the hell he's talking about. Maybe, who's in here? Wolf, are you in here? Or is that Alan?
It's Alan.
Okay.
How you doing, Alan?
What's up, Alan? So What was he talking about with the one-timer thing? Did you get that? Like they go to the outer ring and that's it? They only get one life?
I guess they just experience one total physical existence, and then they live as the entities. I don't know. I'm confused.
I'm confused. I'm not confused about anything but that one-timer thing, you know. But I don't want to just jump to conclusions unless someone clearly knows what he's talking about, you know.
Yeah, I don't certainly know what it's referring to.
What was he talking about? The one-timer thing, Wolf, do you know? What do you think? Because that confused me.
Yeah, it kind of confused me as well. The one-timer thing. Maybe they just come once and leave. Maybe they're super higher conscious beings or something. I don't know. But the whole thing's a little bit Garden of Eden, isn't it? A little bit Adam and Eve.
After the year 3000, we just all of a sudden have the Garden of Eden? Yeah?
Yeah. And he also said it's a possible, at the beginning they said it was a possible future, didn't they?
Yep. A possible future, and it was based on Robert Monroe's teachings and what he taught them about consciousness too, I think. But I'm kind of scanning back through to see what the one-time thing was, you know. I guess I'll have to go back and listen to it, like, or read it or something. It's almost like, you know, and another thing too, the people that have that last life thing, we still don't know where they go yet. Anyways, so I felt much more confident. I was just seeing if any of you guys knew it before I moved on, because that's why I always go back and read these books again, man, because I always miss something, you know. What's up, Jenny? What's up, Joyce? Let's see. All right. So I felt much more confident with that small percept. I reached out and stretched, holding on his ident. Click. I'm floating over a wide brown field just about 3,000 feet up. I'm flat on the bottom and strong life energy is pouring up at me from below. I'm getting larger and larger, and I eagerly convert the energy into being me. I'm a whirling vortex, and my action takes water out of the energy and helps me get bigger. And I become more conscious, more aware. As I get bigger, I'm able to know more. I'm like a round puffball on top, and I feel myself growing upward more than outward. Now there's much of my life energy flowing in me, building up. Wait, that's electricity. If I can keep growing enough before the water leaks out, if the energy from below lasts long enough, I'll get strong, really strong. But I'm drifting away from the energy shaft, and I can't stop the drift, so I'm not getting enough to click. We were floating over the earth, over a heavy forest. The brown field in the near distance was familiar. BB hovered in front of me. He vibrated. Fun, huh? I flickered. What was that? He indicated behind me. I turned. It was a medium-sized cumulus cloud, white on the side where the rays of the sun touched it, gray on the back, with a dark flat bottom. Clouds have consciousness? The basis for life? Waters, minute bits of chemicals, and electricity, all the ingredients. What would a thunderhead be, or a tornado, a hurricane? Weather lows and highs. BB cut in. You ready to go again? I reached out and stretched, following. Click. I'm in green water. It is lighter above me and darker below. My mouth is opening and closing automatically, taking in water, which flows through my head and out my ears. No, not ears, gills. I'm a fish, a very big fish. I can feel my stabilizing fins waving gently to keep me in place. My vision is split. I can't see exactly straight in front of me. Behind me is almost a blind spot, but my peripheral seeing is tremendous. Detail is exquisite, but not many colors, only one or two. I try moving, just thinking about it, and I speed forward very rapidly. Turn right, left, roll, steep climb, then dive. Wait, something on the surface when I climbed. Got to go back, grab it. I'm hungry. I shoot uncontrolled through the surface, mouth open, gulping in something, and as I do, then out of the air and back into the water, diving with a great sense of satisfaction and something wiggling and crunching in the back of my mouth. A bug? Deeper, but it's not dark as I thought. I can still see wonderfully. I'm aware of another fish diving with me, tail and back of the body sculling strongly. Am I doing that too? I am. It just takes care of itself. I just think and it works, like walking or running in a physical human body. I stop, and ahead of me is another fish. It is coming at me. No, it's gigantic, and the water is deceptive. It's incredibly bigger than I am. It has hunger signals radiating. Go, 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 it's after me. Swim, swim fast. It's coming after me. Up to the top, up, 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 faster. Signal in from my sides. Another fish swimming violently beside me. Signal from the stripes on my sides. Hey, Ram, you're in the air. Skip, skip. I broke through the surface into the air, reached out and stretched. Click. I was just above the water, and I saw the body of my fish, with the second one alongside it, arch through the air and re-enter the water with the smallest of splashes. But immediately there was a rushing, a swirling under the surface. Fun, huh? It was BB beside me. I couldn't reply. I was shaking so hard, so he went on. I guaranteed AA I wouldn't let you go through the end of it. He had a percept you weren't ready, and he was right. But you asked her about the food chain, didn't you? I vibrated. All right, all right. BB smoothed. You always want it the way it is, don't you? I smoothed also. You caught me by surprise, that's all. Well, the next adventure is quiet, nice and quiet. You ready? Everything is relative, including BB's idea of quiet. I reached, stretched, and click. I'm waving gently up and down and bending, flexing, coursing into me from the smallest part of me, which is long and narrow, with many tubes running through it, comes my share of the glorious life force, coming from the whole, the family of which I am a part, and I know how much the whole needs me, and I gladly, joyously serve. As the energy that makes me waver and flex flows past my flat sides. Wait, that's just air and wind. I take from it the parts needed by the whole and send it back through the narrow tubes because it's needed. I do this so easily I don't think of it as work. It's breathing. It's what I'm for. To breathe for the whole as I take ashes from the whole. To breathe from the whole as I take ashes from the whole and spread it out into the energy, my happy exchange and other, oh so important, my special shape, my profile, configuration, receives a special signal that the whole understands, needs, and uses. All I do is receive it and send it on, and I'm happy, supremely happy with the total knowledge of belonging, performing as I was designed to. Beautiful balance, giving, receiving, security, and strength of the whole. Click. I don't know what the hell that was, but BB was beside me. Gets you, doesn't it? I flickered. Where was that? He indicated, and I turned. Very close to me was a leaf, an oak leaf. It was attached by a long stem to a branch, and beyond the branch was the massive tree trunk, solidly dug into the earth. To have passed such knowing without awareness, I understood more of this new human school. Ready to go again? This is my favorite. I flickered. Well, I'm not so sure. Maybe we ought to... This one we designed ourselves, BB cut in. If you don't like it, give me a signal and we'll pull a quick skip. Reluctantly, I stretched and followed. Click. And we're going to take a break on that click. We'll be right back. I guess he's just going, I don't know, I guess he's just going through all the different life forms on Earth. And I get, what was that last one? Was a leaf or something? He was a leaf. He's been a fish. Yeah. So I have no idea what this one's going to be. But, yeah, we got to take a break just real quick, or I need to take a break. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us. heck?
Please help us with the answers.
This portion of the show is being brought to you by Ed's new antiperspirant toothpaste, the world's first toothpaste that not only cleans your teeth, but also protects you from the embarrassing odors of that dreaded problem, tooth sweat.
This station will now leave the air briefly while a suitable replacement is found.
This portion of the show is being brought to you by Ed's Almost Good Beer. Remember, Ed's Almost Good Beer was brewed in God's country when God wasn't looking.
All right. All right, so we're gonna continue. This is a long chapter, but there's only like just a couple of chapters left in this crazy text. I mean, a part of me thinks that this is totally a fantasy, but I mean, he's saying he's out of body. He's saying he's out of body and leaving his second body every time he goes on one of these trips. So it's a lot of freaking details to remember all this stuff, man. And as I'm reading it, I'm trying to be like, I guess, cognitive or whatever of how I'm sounding, and then at the same time trying to take it all in too. So it's not too easy. I caught myself like woozing out there for a second a minute ago. I had to it was almost like a weird surge of adrenaline went through me and just like woke me up or something. It was really weird. Come on, man. What do you think, guys? Is this real, Wolf, Bryce? Or is this all just a projection? I don't know. It's almost like I want to believe in it, but you know.
It does sound too good to be true.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? But I mean, that is part of our reality, right? Anything that's too good to be true probably isn't, you know?
Right.
That doesn't mean that's all exactly true. Hopefully, and I think Manly P. Hall said something too, like, not saying they know each other, but Manly P. Hall did say that eventually we started out as these like etheric spiritual beings in one of his books, smaller books, and then we get like super physical, and then we slowly go back to being etheric beings here on this planet. So it's kind of like they have an intuitive knowing of it, maybe. But there's also a part of me that's like, come on, man, this can't be real. It can't be.
So you don't want to be a fish, Joe?
Well, I mean, it might be cool to be a fish for a second. Like I wonder if that's really a thing. Like, have we all been, like a part of consciousness of animals and plants and other things until we got to be a human? Or, like I know my cat's conscious. I know it. It makes choices. It's aware. Driven by nature a bit more than humans, but it's conscious, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, everything's kind of symbiotic, isn't it? The planet, the food, the cycles, us. We all kind of rely on each other, the trees. I think he was a tree last time, wasn't he?
Yeah, or a leaf, was it a tree? I thought it was a leaf, but maybe
I think
it was a tree.
I thought he was a tree. And when he said he was giving out, I don't know what he said he was giving out, but I saw it as like CO2, so that we breathe that. He said he gave out something. It's a tree.
Dan Beard said, sounds too strange to be fake.
Yeah.
I wonder how many entities exist outside the physical planet. Trillions, hundreds, quadrillions, 10, 1. Yeah, I don't know. Like how many entities exist outside the physical planet? No idea. Yeah, I was just thinking, I think I had kind of like, while I was reading that, I had some kind of like weird daydream that I was a fish because he was explaining it so well. And then it felt like I was phasing in and out. I don't know if y'all were watching on YouTube, but I kind of jumped real quick. Like it was like a spark of adrenaline that hit me to wake me back up. I got too into the story, man. So he's still clicking out here. He's still going through stuff. I think this is the one that said that BB said that they're going to, I don't know, that what did he say? This is one of my favorites. Anyways, he clicks again. Click. I am lying down in the soft, thick grasses lying on my side. I open my eyes. Tall trees surround me on all sides. Their leaf-laden branches form a canopy far overhead. Sunlight filters through to provide good but not overbearing luminescence. A large tan-colored panther is standing over me, staring at me intently. Come on, Ram, let's play. I roll over and stand up. Stand up? I have 4 legs. How sure and stable it feels. My head is out in front of my body. Now I have to look to turn at my back and hips. Fur-covered, sleek. What's that waving behind me? It's a tail. I have a tail. I always wanted to be a cat, man. I think about moving it, and it jerks back and forth, back and forth. How about that? But it goes up and down just a little bit, more down than up. A scent gets my attention. Smells. I didn't know so many different smells existed. Now instantly, if they're near or far, the signal input is as good as or better than my seeing. And hearing, I could know everything just from listening. I flex my legs, pull in my claws. Yes, I have claws. I feel great. Watch out, world. Here I come. Such a glorious sense of being alive. Totally alive. I want to run, jump, and climb. Well, BB said, come on then. The tan panther lopes off through the trees, and I follow, faster, now into a gallop. Now running all out, dodging through the trees, easily avoiding low branches. The exhilarating flow of smells passing my nose, and I sample them all. My eyes and ears picking up, identifying and sorting a myriad of signals, all familiar. A large tree is dead ahead, then a tan panther runs right up the side of it, and I follow, digging in claws. Pulling up and digging in claws. It is waiting for me, sitting casually on a thick branch. I pull up beside it, sit back, and he waves his tail, and I wave mine in reply. Pretty good for a beginner, Ram. I'm too stimulated to reply. I'm remembering the great sense of power in my muscles, sorting out the massive input that had come through my senses. How could humans have ignored and distorted such profound perceptions? I've picked up so little of it when a lower animal, or lower, ? Picked up so much. Have to go down now. The tan panther stands up, turns, and walks down the tree to the ground. Walks down? I didn't know cats could do that. They always back down. I stand up and slowly back down, jumping the last 8 feet easily. Just lie down under the tree near the trunk, then pull a short skip, very short. I lie down in the grass and very reluctantly reach and stretch. Click. We're hovering just above the ground, and I look down. Below us, breathing shallowly and slowly, lying in the grass, was the body of the tan panther and another panther body, a darker brown one, which I had occupied. Beside me, BB rolled. Liked it, huh? I vibrated. Wonderful. Well, we got more one for you to sample. This one, she picked out. N.A. She was sure it was your kind of stuff. You'll be alone, but she said you would know what to do. I'll just guide you there. You ready? Wondering what she would pick, I reached and stretched. Click. I'm floating high over a rugged snow-capped mountain range, and I can see for hundreds of miles in every direction. And I can see down on the ground. Beautiful focus and the most minute detail. The leaves on trees, small animals as they move over the rocks. And I'm moving slowly, making a wide, easy turn. the standing wave from the mountain ridge offering solid and steady lift under my wings. Wings! I turned my head. Extending out from my shoulders, a broad arching wing tapering to a round point, feathers ruffling in the slight turbulence. I roll my head to the left. There's one to match from the other shoulder. I'm not floating. I'm soaring as a bird. I'm a bird. A super sailplane that does exactly what I think. I break the turn, and the feathers on the trailing edge bend down on one side, up the other, instant ailerons. Let's reach for maximum lift. There it is, more under the left wing than the right. Turn into the lift. Feel the lift getting stronger and stronger. It's peaking out. Turn and circle. Tighten the turn. Highest point of lift. Must have a 50-to-1 glide ratio. I spiral up, tighter and faster. Perfect control. The air is thinner. I keep higher airspeed. Wonder where the stall point is. He thinks he's in an airplane still or something. He's talking like he's in an airplane. Nose, no head up, more higher. Angle of attack, more. Hey, that's pretty good. I would never think a bird body could... Oops, it does stall. Easy to pick up speed again. Yeah, just fold the wings and down we go. Hey, Ram? And I bet these wings can take a big G load coming out of a dive if you open them slowly. Let's see, we'll just dive a little faster. Ram, you know what you're doing? That's about fast enough. Now, to open the wings a little at a time, a little slowly at a time. Now, back on the stick. Tail feathers up a little at a time. There, all back to normal. Back to cruising speed. What a bird. Must be a condor. Wonder what a quick sparrow would... Ram, just pull a short skip, now. I sigh, reach, and stretch. Click. I was back and among the sparkling forms, and I closed tightly. The radiation was making me break out in waves exquisitely familiar, and after a moment the radiation lessened and I opened. I had ident immediately on BB and the vague ident of the woman. BB rolled. That big old bird must be wondering how his wings got bent. I rolled with him. Oh no, there wasn't one strained tendon or muscle, not one feather out of line when I left, I guarantee it. BB turned to the woman, a sparkling form. I had already had an ident as her. Here's your problem. I'll check with, he's your problem, I'll check with AA and see you at the site. I turned to the woman. The site? Well, that's where we first greeted you. I turned inward. There were so many points left unanswered, and I had a percept that my visit was growing short. Get to the key items, those first. I focused completely open, so nothing would be distorted. The first-timers, when they come back. One-timers, she corrected. I went on. If you have that constant input, you must have an output to keep the flow, the movement active. She waited, quietly, politely, or had she percept of both questions and answers? I went on. So humans do graduate from here, the dorm. Question, what happens to the graduates? She flickered. I don't have a percept of that. They just click out. One at a time or as a group? She smoothed. Usually several at once. Every so often, one goes alone. And they never return. No, they don't. Any communication with them after they leave? She flickered. Not in a way that we can understand. I wanted to follow up on that one, but I was sure it would come out. Any indications or symptoms they're about to graduate? She smoothed again. Oh, yeah. They no longer need to experience Earth, so they begin to go physical less and less, and finally they just stop completely. Is that all? No, their radiation begins to change, and they begin to close after that. They click out. I had the percept she was beginning to vibrate. I don't want to act like an inquisitor, but she opened more. Go on, we expected you to ask just what you are. I took another direction. I need as much of a road as I can get. I may not get another chance. She smoothed neatly, but there was a little roll in her response. Oh, I'm sure you will. In time-space, I went on, are there many other growth patterns in consciousness similar to humans and Earth? She rolled. You can't count them if you wanted to. There's that many, and new ones coming online constantly. I flickered. Online? She rolled stronger. A knew you would like it if I used that phrase. I went with it. Well, I'd like to meet this AA face to face sometimes. He knows more about me than I do myself. She didn't respond, just rolled more strongly. I didn't think it was that funny. Wait a minute. I think I know who AA is. Anyways, hold on. She didn't respond. She just rolled more strongly. I didn't think it was that funny. But are humans now in communication with other such civilizations? She smoothed out. Not very much. There's some exchange, but it doesn't seem necessary or important. Well, what about other non-physical energy systems? She lighted. Oh, those we visit them as often as we can. I threw a high, hard one. Together, louche? She turned inward, then opened carefully. No, to sow it, to plant the seeds. That lets the ray have an ident to focus on. Now I was the one who turned inward and closed. Her simple statement implied so much knowledge that made everything else no more than sophisticated monkey chatter. There was much monkey left in me, too much, but I had a sudden percept and I knew I had to verify it. I ran it smooth. Are you about to graduate? She flickered. Yes? And how do you know this? She vibrated. He told me you would ask the question, but you didn't ask it right, so I can answer it. I didn't have to ask who the he was, but you didn't have a percept what happened to graduates. She smoothed nicely. I don't, but you do. I blanked completely. Did she or Inspecs have it that I was to do the informing? A boy to do a man's job? I was so closed I almost missed the rest of it. She was vibrating warmly. We've been expecting this, an event to take place. Then we can leave. I was ready to ask about who the we was and the event, but I felt the familiar inspect signal and began to respond. And so did she. So did she. A great flood of percept ran through me, and I had all the answers, I thought. We have to go back to the site now. She was smooth yet vibrating. Are you ready? I closed. Ident the knoll. Reached and stretched. Click. I was over the knoll about 100 feet up. The ridges were off to the west, so I turned, looking past the fences. Fences? And there were the center buildings beyond with their dark red roofs. The gravel road showed a cloud of dust as a car rolled past. I had made the wrong ident back to 1982. A strange mixture of emotions surged through me, and I knew it would take much to sort them out, if I couldn't at all. I had even returned to the second body without direction, which was unusual. It was old stuff to home in on, the physical, slip in, open my eyes, and move my arms and legs. I looked at the clock. Time, 2:40 a.m., 8 minutes. I was gone only 8 minutes? Boo. And that's the end of the chapter. The next chapter is The Gathering. I don't know, man. He's, like I said, he's claiming that this whole thing is an out-of-body experience, so he must be like you have to be, man, you have to be a conscious OBE guru, which I think Robert Monroe was, to even get close to me believing that something like this is freaking real, And if it is, I want to experience it. I don't think I'd want to be a bird, though. I think I'd want to be a cat. I think. What would you want to be, Bryce? If you had to pick, if this chick came to you and said you can envelop the body of one animal on the earth, what would you pick?
I would definitely pick a bird, something cool like an eagle or a hawk.
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, dude. It'd be badass to run like a cheetah, though, just to see how fast, just to feel that speed,
I mean, that would be cool, but nothing beats flying. Nothing beats flying.
What do you think, Wolf?
An eagle or a wolf, I think.
A wolf. That makes sense. Wolf would want to be the wolf. I remember Joe Rogan talking about a dream, him saying that he was a wolf in a dream or something like that one time, that he could smell animals' fear. But he knew it was a dream. But this whole thing is like, I left my physical body, got into my, etheric body, then left my etheric body. I mean, damn, it's hard enough to get out of the physical body. Now you got to get out a second just to get to these places. I don't know. seems like the further we go on, every time I got something figured out, something weird, something else pops up. Let me see how long this.
I can just wait. I can just wait here for about 1,000 years. Be cool. We're good.
Yeah, I mean, if this is real, if something like this was to really happen after the year 3000, I'd hang around. Guys, this is the last chapter besides the epilogue that we're about to read in this book. Do you believe that? Let me look.
It's gone quick.
It is, yeah.
And there's a whole nother book after this, though, isn't there?
Yep.
Yeah, there's the appendices in this book called The Out of Body Experience, Most Frequently Asked Questions, which I think we should go through. Like, how do you know this isn't just a dream or something? So there's more to this book, but as far as like the actual chapters themselves, the gathering is the last chapter, and the rest is like the epilogue and the frequently asked questions thing, you know. Then it's, guess what? Then it's Ultimate Journey. Damn cool, I think, though. Oh, shit, I forgot to go to the chat. Let's see what's up. I'd like to try to be what did I just do to the chat? I just did something weird. Robo1776 says, I'd like to try to be a bumblebee. Now, why in the hell would you want to be a bumblebee? Monroe left us too soon. I think he did too. Man, I totally agree with you on that. My owl came back and blocked my car from leaving. Really? I'd be a dinosaur if they were real. Ari the cat says I'd be a bear. Yeah, that'd be just I'd be a silverback gorilla. I just want to be able to rip trees up out of the ground, because I've actually felt that kind of like, you know, frustration where you want to rip something. I'd go outside. When I used to do it when I was a kid, my temper would be so bad I'd do stupid stuff like try to pull shit out of the ground that I couldn't pull out of the ground. But if you were a gorilla, you could pull it off, you know. Let's see. Eaten by a wildcat. Probably died a traumatic death. Who really knows? I don't know. All right. Last chapter before the epilogue, then I gotta slow down. You're reading too fast. Man, I don't do nothing fast. I'm slow at everything in my life. Speaking of which, real quick, we'll do the last chapter after this. Just gotta run to the restroom real quick.
Saturday morning and it's time to go. One of these could be the days, but who could have known? Loading in the back of a pickup truck, riding with the boys and pushing the luck, singing songs loud on the way to the game, wishing all the things could still be the same. Shining some runs over the backstop, Kakua on the ball and soda pop. Well, we used to laugh a lot, but only because we thought that everything good always would remain. Nothing gonna change, there's no need to complain. Sunday morning and it's time to go. Been raining all night, so everybody knows. Over to the field for tackle football. Big hits, big hats, yeah, give me the ball. Rain is pouring, touchdown scoring. Keep on rolling, never boring. Come on, chameleon. We're talking kind of funny from helium. Well, we used to laugh a lot, but only because we thought that everything good always would remain. Nothing gonna change, there's no need to complain.
We got to do this last chapter. We'll actually. So now you can only, like, for those of you that have been keeping up the entire time, hell, you know what you can say? People say, man, have you ever read Journeys Out of the Body? Technically, you can say yes. And then I would say after this show and possibly the next, if they say, have you ever read or listened to Far Journeys by Robert Monroe? Well, technically, you could say yes. And then the last one's Ultimate Journey. But this last chapter in the book, before we get to any epilogues or anything like that, is called The Gathering, which is, let's see how this ends. I don't think this is very long. I think we'll be okay. So, days, weeks, and months passed by rapidly without any unusual out-of-body activity. I had grown away from the desire to investigate the local events that used to attract me so deeply. Yeah, he doesn't want to get out of body and play around in the world like a ghost anymore. He wants to do this stuff. Occasionally, in the familiar early morning hours, I would awaken out of habit and detach from the physical body. I'd wait for a strong ident inspect signal, but there was none. And after a few moments, I would re-enter the physical and just go to sleep. During this interim, I had no sense of isolation or deprivation whatsoever. The absence of the signal in no way inferred to me that I was being ignored or abandoned. Instead, there was a complete sense of security, a full-fledged desire to continue and broaden my participation in physical life around me, a freedom to express myself, maligned curiosity rather than anxiety as to daily and upcoming patterns. I simply went back to the grazing principle, knowing what I found today would lead me to tomorrow. Whatever tomorrow was. The signal would come when it was appropriate. And it did. One morning I began to get a feeling of needing to do something I had forgotten. And at first I wasn't sure, but what it was indeed something I had failed to do in my physical activity. However, around 11 that morning I became exceedingly drowsy, so much so that I went into the bedroom to lie down for a short nap. I wasn't tired, but I did need to sleep. Within seconds after stretching out on the bed, I dropped into deep relaxation. And at that point, I could perceive it clearly. The inspect signal was there, cleanly defined and strong. I succeeded in staying calm enough to develop the out-of-body pattern, roll out and into the second, and sliding out of the second body was automatic, and I reached and stretched, homing in on the familiar ident. The change was instantaneous, no sense of movement whatsoever. The bright, glowing figure was in front of me. I was aware of the radiation, but it was quite comfortable. Very proficient, Ashanine. And progress, too. There have been many changes. We believe you're ready for the next, how do you call it? Step. It was not a percept, but I wondered idly if that was a polite way to inform me I would no longer return to the physical. Well, I could go and some music to Charlie Sunsets, or so he's thinking the next step is death or something. That's not the step we've planned. You'll know when your physical body release is to take place. We will not need to inform you, nor do we plan or participate in such release unless you request it. You have much to complete prior to such change. I received that information with mixed emotions. One great part of me yearning to get on with it, and the other reaching back to the physical earth and the deep poignant emotions I was sharing there. I remembered many years ago during a strong pressure point when the option to stay or complete release from the physical was available to me, and I agreed to take the physical as long as it was operational, whatever the situation, because I wanted to find out what happened tomorrow. Curiosity. We have explained to you that it is one of your assets. Completion of this next step will provide you with many answers, the inspect said. There is very much a missing element in the pattern, and nothing in this world would prevent my curiosity from seeking the answer. Nor out of this world. You need no longer stay closed for the shift, the inspect replied. I managed to stay calm, but expectant. Click. We were on the far rim of the outermost ring. I could recognize it from the very thin ambience of haze. The soft white forms were all around us. I could perceive my inspect friend was with me, but there was no glowing form. There's no need to distract their attention, the inspect said. I reached for any percept of Bill, then of Lou. I couldn't find either. They have graduated, as you put it, the inspect said. Well, that was to be expected, and I had a percept of their new address, as it were. But there was some factor involved that disturbed me, and I couldn't bring it out. Then I became aware of the intent inward, the focus of the entire outermost ring, and the inhabitants thereof. There was a strong radiation of expectancy, not concern, as if the star of the show was about to make an entrance. I followed the line of their focus, and it was the physical planet Earth, indistinct and nebulous from this perspective. "Let us take another viewpoint," the inspect said. "By all means, and the phrase does fit." Click. We were out in space somewhere between the Earth and the Moon, an indeterminate distance, 50,000 miles plus from the surface of the Earth. It was very clear and detailed, not as it was before. I turned to look at the moon and blanked. No more than 1,000 feet away, or so it seemed, was an immense, solid-appearing object, gray in color, long and slender, conical-shaped, with a hemispheric dome at the widest end, and the other end was somewhere in the distance, at least several miles. It appeared motionless, but I had the definite percept of M-band radiation from it. A spaceship? A physical spaceship? In your terms, that is correct. It's not a human construct. There are many of such around the physical Earth at this point. Their origins are of your physical universe, but not necessarily of your time reference, the inspect says. Many. Really? Come on now. Many. Could be 5 or 5,000. There was no point in trying to find out. But why around the Earth was it? Well, they focused on the planet Earth and humans just as you observed the others, and for the same purpose. Shall we move on? The answer will come soon. My curiosity accepted gladly. Click. My immediate percept of the Earth was a pinpoint of reflected light in the distance, no larger than a small star. From it came irregular waves of energy, multidimensional pulsings, intermittent, broken by occasional quick flares. A complex, unorganized pattern composed not of light or electromagnetic or gravitic structure, but of some other energy that I couldn't define. I was so completely fascinated by the display that I did not at first notice the background. As far as I could perceive in all directions, with the Earth at the center, was a host of forms, countless numbers, and it seems some had shape, others appeared as no more than a wisp of a cloud vapor. All glowed in various deep degrees of intensity. From those nearest us, I had the same percept of expectancy, of waiting for the show to begin. It must be some big show to attract all of these. Well, it is what we call the gathering. These have manifested from other nearby energy systems, only to witness the big show, as you call it, just as those within physical spacecraft and your final process humans. This big show which is about to occur is actually a very rare event. The conflux of several different and intense energy fields arriving at the same point in your time-space. It is this rarity that has attracted so much attention. In terms you can perceive it, it may occur once every 87 million of your years, of your Earth years. Well, very long odds and a long time to wait. This does not warrant that it will be produced at the frequency, or at that frequency. There are random elements and variables in the format which cannot be predicted. So random that the event might not take place, perhaps. There would be a lot of disappointed... It is long past such point. It will occur. The interest lies in the result. It is best symbolized to you as a convergence of a great number of possibilities, which emerged as several probabilities and few possibilities. One of such probabilities may alter not only your time-space, but all adjoining energy systems as well. Therefore, the wide interest, in human terms, still symbolized, the gathering is here to observe the possible birth of a new energy. And will it survive the birth process? And if so, what are the potentials inherent in such energy that will predict accurately the same at maturity? Or will the energy arrive stillborn, and the possibilities remain no more than that, weak, uncoordinated possibilities? Running a bit of my exquisite Human Plus rote made it quite clear. But my still inhuman self looked at Earth and the human system. There is a human oriental symbol for crisis, which is composed of two sub-symbols indicating danger and opportunity. The event in human and physical Earth terms is definitely a point of crisis. It is quite valid that as to the human existence, both danger and opportunity will be present in extreme degrees. Danger. Physical danger, mental, those are possibilities, the exact nature of which will be determined by the event itself. Whatever your percept may be is one of the possibilities. One or several will occur. The other side of the opportunity, well, that is the key to the understanding of the event. It will offer human consciousness a rare potential to emerge rapidly into a unified, intelligent energy system that will range far beyond your time-space illusion, creating, constructing, teaching as only a human-trained graduate energy is able to do. Our visit to Earth in 3,000 plus that we just did. Yeah, a possibility that may become probable with the event. Your action is one of the minute random factors that may make it so. Well, what if the opportunity is missed? Then humans will retreat as the dominant species on Earth until they no longer survive as active consciousness, and eventually in any form. I asked it directly. And you, all of you, what will you do if this takes place? There was a beautiful warmth and a soft smile in the response. Well, we just have to start up some action on some other planet in time-space with new humans. I turned inward and closed. There was not much I could think or do. I was hit hard emotionally, and I didn't want to lose it. Not now. There is one more process we have to perform. Then you can return to your physical body. I wasn't sure I could handle one more, but I knew that I would. Ident your friend BB and guide him here. The road spread instantly. I had left him with Bill, and Bill wasn't there. You will locate him easily. There is a very special function he can perform for us. No questions were needed, and I reached Ident BB and stretched. Click. I was getting better, or older. No sense of motion whatsoever, and I had very little surprise at the location. I was on the grass in front of Charlie's cabin. BB and Charlie were over to one side, busily engaging in something. I went over to them just as BB perceived me. "Hey, Ram," he vibrated loudly. "Look at what we're making." Charlie was laughing. "I keep telling the kid you can't have a sailboat and a hang glider all in one. Air and water aren't the same." I flickered. "You can see him now, Charlie. Visually, you can see him?" Charlie smiled. "Oh, sure. Worked that out the first day he got here. He must have changed the ocean 100 times before I got him stopped. Had it yellow with square waves. How about that? But he's smart, catches on fast." I smoothed. "Well, I hate to break it up, but I need BB here to do something for me." BB opened. "You name it, Ram." Charlie waved. "Come on back, kid." BB rolled. "Who's to keep me away?" Charlie shook his head and laughed, and I reached and stretched for the ident inspect. Click. BB was beside me. "Hey, you sure tightened your skip. I would never have hung, except I was used to it from a game we played back in..." He cut short and closed tightly as he became aware of the brightly glowing form of the inspect. I should have warned him, I guess. Below us was physical Earth, about 500 feet. It was night and occasional lights dotted the countryside. Almost directly under us was an area of water like a small pond or pool, and immediately beyond a green pyramid-like structure with a light glowing inside. It had a strong point of familiarity, but I couldn't bring it back. I turned to BB. "Just open slow. It's a friend." So I guess this is the first time that Robert's showing BB to the inspect, or introducing BB to the inspect. So he did so carefully, then focused on the bright glow. Hello." "Well," the inspect replied, "we appreciate your coming." BB had no cultural restraints. "We had a curl back in KT-95 who claimed he met you or one just like you. We put it off as some more wild rote." The inspector replied, "It is understandable." BB went on. "He kept throwing it at us, and after a while he pulled a skip and never came back, so he was right. You're real." The inspector replied, "You are needed to perform a specific act, if you will." BB flickered. Sure. Let us move closer." The three of us moved down slowly, just over the top of the green pyramid and beyond, and stopped outside a small structure in the middle of a grove of trees. It was very familiar to me, and for some reason, I was becoming uncomfortable. It was as if I were encountering a resistance. Something pushed me back, and the more I tried to move forward, Your friend AA is there. It's important that you help him at this point. BB blanked. AA? That is correct. BB focused, and so did I. Inside the small structure, a man was lying on a bed or a cot. The resistance I felt seemed to be emanating from him. It was exactly the same as the other times. It was AA, I was sure. But the resistance was very strong, and it made me vibrate. BB turned. I guess it's him, all right. I get a part of his ident, not much. I'm getting some other with it that I know, too, but the percept is wild. The inspect replied, it's important that you help him separate from his physical temporarily. BB lighted. You mean like Ram here? The inspect replied, that is correct. He blanked. Well, how can I do it? Just pull gently, the inspect said. Use the energy you apply when you skip. BB turned and moved in close to the man on the bed. I watched with fascination, wondering if this was the way it had started with me. If some non-physical friend had been enlisted to help me move out of the body during the early stages. But I didn't have any non-physical friends back then that I knew of. Suddenly the resistance grew much stronger and pushed me back. I held my position as best I could, feeling very uncomfortable. I turned inward and closed. The man was standing in the middle of the floor, and his physical body was on the cot. BB had backed away, flickering heavily. He focused at the inspect. Well, he's out. I got him out, but, And the inspect replied, inquire as to his purpose. The man responded, but all I was able to perceive was just M-band scratching and screeching that indicated strong emotion. If it was his first time, I could understand and empathize with him. He stated he wished to serve humankind. Very noble goal. I managed to open somewhat. Why this resistance if it's there if I try to get close to his friend AA? A true paradox refuses to exist, and you will understand soon, the inspect replied. BB came in strong. He wants to go with us. Can he do that? The resistance and screeching were so strong they hurt, yet I knew I had the answer before the inspect gave it. The inspect said, inform him he must stay and perform his designed function. He has no other choice at this point. In spite of the hurt, I tried to observe, and after a moment, BB moved up and joined us. The man sank to his knees in the middle of the floor, and the screeching became so strong I had to close completely. The inspect said, let us move to a point where it's more comfortable for you. I agreed eagerly. Click. We were just outside the thin haze of the intermediate area. In the distance were the rings with the indistinct form of the physical earth at the center. The M-band noises, especially the screeching, had faded completely. I opened in relief, and the inspect was in front of me. BB off to one side, completely closed, which was strange. It is done. The pattern is complete, the inspect said. There was a point of finality in the statement that made me uneasy. It echoed back through me, triggering familiar emotional road as it went, and I dealt with and diverted each one as it arose. This time it was different. I had far too much exquisite and precious rote to let it be otherwise. The uneasiness vanished. I opened wide and smoothed. I understand about individuation. It is not necessary. The inspect replied, you have learned your lessons well, Ashanine. The brightly glowing form winked out, and for now I knew there would no longer be an inspect ident to follow. But I felt no sense of loneliness. I moved over to BB as he hovered motionless, still closed. I focused. Hey, old buddy, I gotta go back. He opened slowly. Yeah, Ram, I gotta do something myself anyway. I had no doubt what it was. Well, you'll do fine, just like pulling skips and playing games back at KT95. He lighted. Yeah, sure, a bunch of games. I opened wide. You can do it, Tiger. Keep my ident and have fun. I turned and started to reach, but he stopped me. What's the push, BB? He flickered. That last thing we did, me pulling AA out, you don't have any percept on it, do you? No, except it was certainly AA. That same resistance stuff was there. Why, something I didn't get? BB focused on me hard, and I waited. Suddenly he lighted very brightly and started to roll strongly. It almost became human laughter, and it was strong. I flickered. What's so funny? You have fun, Ram. And I watched as he moved in the direction of the first entry station, still rolling. When he disappeared inside, I turned and reached. I dent physical body and stretched gently. I moved slowly inward through the rings, feeling strong and sure, knowing I still had much human road to pick up and go through. I entered the second body, then into the physical body, knowing one pattern had ended and another one would begin. But what was so funny? The green pyramid, the three of us, serve humankind, green pyramid roof, 3 on a beam. Hey, on a clear night before going to bed, I might go out and stand on the sun deck and look up. And when I do, sometimes the stars disappear and there is nothing but blackness overhead. And from beyond the black comes an unseen and eternal song that is hauntingly familiar. A reminder, if needed, cutting sharply through the noise of local traffic. Inspec, BB, Lou, Bill, her, all 3 in the song. But no, not AA. Then it fades. The stars return to the blackness. I take a deep breath and go back inside. That's the end of it, man. The next is the epilogue. You know, did you figure out what was happening? I think I figured out finally in the end. That
I picked up on the green roof.
I was
from
like,
the beginning of the book.
I was like, holy shit, dude. He's been AA the whole time. You know?
Yeah.
I just now picked up on that though. Not just then, but like a little while before, you know.
Yeah. Well, the green roof is kind of the confirming factor, but I was kind of like, you know, I was on the verge of it right there, you know.
Yeah, so like we can finish the book like the epilogues and the frequently asked questions and all that stuff, which they're just as important as the stories in the book. I promise you guys before we get to the next book, but that's pretty much the end of the story. I mean, he goes into like a lot of theory and epilogue stuff. And then, like I said, frequently asked questions. It's going to take a whole show to go through, but damn. So them like helping him out and standing him up like that was, do you remember that all the way back in the first book when he said he felt the hands pulling on him and picking him up? Like all the way back in the first book. That's the trippy part. And that also makes like time, this whole idea of time, not even serial time, come to a whole different, I don't know, my head's spinning right now, dude. And it does every time, now that I remember this, you know. Or I'm wrong. I mean, we could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's AA.
There was times though when he saw AA when he was a soldier, and so he was able to watch himself.
Yeah, and think about it. Every time he got close, he said he felt a barrier, remember? That would push him away from him.
But he could still see himself objectively, like live more than once at the same time.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Damn. Trippy stuff, man. We'll do the epilogue and frequently asked questions in the next broadcast. Maybe tomorrow night, not sure. My son just closed on his new house, and I think me and my ex-wife are going to go help him do stuff tomorrow, but I don't know how long that's going to take. It's crazy. The kid bought a house right down the road from where I'm at, you know. But maybe we'll be able to do it tomorrow. Also, Saturday night, we do the D&D thing, and Sunday night, if you want to join us in the Discord, we do movie nights. So people, everybody, the public is more welcome to join if you're in the Discord. And, yeah, that's it, man. I want to keep reading it, but I know it'll turn into a 2-hour weed thing to finish it. All right. Let's get the hell out of here. Pretty trippy stuff. You guys ain't got no questions? Nothing you want to say before we bounce?
I might have to read the last chapter again.
Did you read it already yourself, though?
I read it years ago, but I'd forgotten most of it, to be honest. But I kind of drifted off there on the last chapter, so I'm going to have another look at it.
That was the crazy part where it all comes together, man.
That's kind of the thing that makes me think that he's not making it all up right there, that how that all ties it together. Unless he was just the whole time he's just making up a story, but you know.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I personally don't think that he's making it up at all. I don't. Appreciate it, Robo. We'll do it again tomorrow night. We'll do the epilogue and the frequently asked questions. Thanks for the $9.99 super chat, but oh, damn. I mean, there's just so much stuff that it's almost like he asked for the answers of what the hell was going on to him when it started happening too, you know? But it's also like, you know, here's the one thing that gets me. Joy said, Joe, you missed a fun chat. Well, it's kind of hard to read a book and watch the chat the whole time. Sorry I couldn't give you the attention you needed there, but I don't understand how there's so much shit that don't make sense. I can understand how it all happened and how he was observing himself, and he did ask a lot of questions in the first book that he needed answers to, and he's kind of got them, you know. But there's still some stuff that don't make sense, you know. Quite a bit of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's all so subjective and yet very detailed. He could just be creating the whole scenario within himself, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, he could. He could be. I think we'll find out in the third book for sure, though. All right. Before my mind blows up, take your mushrooms. Go night-night. Y'all take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Night-night. Sweet dreams. Keep it live on the Fringe FM. You never know when we might go live. I might have a crazy dream, wake up and go live and tell you all about it.
Tombstones climbing up the sky to claim the boredom and the whine of the radiator, to freeze the fates that intertwine, unresolved and undefined in this echo chamber. Once you've given up the ghost, just like Lazarus, you know there's an operator, some strange passenger inside. To that strange power I'm resigned like an iron